What's going on, guys? Welcome back to WWE Network and Show, where I, Graham G.S. and Matthews, break down all the original content you watch on the WWE Network and on Peacock. And today we're talking the May 15th, 2021 edition of Talking Smack, which overall was a very good show. And Talking Smack is usually a great show. This was no different with the variety of guests they had on. We had Natalya, an emotional Tamina. We had on Big E. We had Paul Heyman talking about New Jack at the end of the episode, which I was not expecting. I was not expecting that, so I thought that was really, really cool. And we had Pat McAfee even on the show for a change as well, which, again, I was not expecting. Usually they only have on the wrestlers themselves and not really the commentators or anyone else, but I thought that was really cool. So the first thing that Heyman talks about as we open the episode here is Kayla previews the Backlash card for Sunday, or WrestleMania Backlash as they're calling it, and specifically the SmackDown matches for the show. Heyman mentions that he's stressed for the pay-per-view on Sunday, and he does all the stressing for Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns tries not to stress. Heyman does that part of the job for him as Roman prepares to defend his Universal Championship on Sunday against Cesaro. So Kayla runs down the results from SmackDown, including the results from SmackDown, including Rey Mysterio beating Dolph Ziggler one-on-one. They talk about the back and forth that Bayley and Bianca Belair had. Kayla says that she hopes the Mysterios walk out as the SmackDown Tag Team Champions. I hope they don't. If only so we can get the I will not stop talking about this. If only so we can get the title change on Father's Day next month. I mean, it has to happen. How the fuck could it not? Heyman also says he doesn't know who's going to win between Bianca Belair and Bayley. And Kayla doesn't like that answer because he says, I'm intrigued to see who's going to win in that match. And she wants him to pick a side, and he says, listen, I don't know who's going to win in the match, and that should be enough of a draw for people to tune in to WrestleMania Backlash on Peacock and the network this Sunday. Like, what more do you want from me, woman? I thought that was funny. So the first guests they have on are, as mentioned, Natalya and Tamina, the all-new WWE Women's Tag Team Champions, following Friday's SmackDown. Natalya brings up how she and Tamina manifested their wildest dreams by becoming champions together on Friday, and she hopes their title win serves as a beacon of hope for people who are told that their dreams can't come true, or they can't do this or that or whatever. She wants, to prove to people that you can prove other people wrong by doing what you set out to do. She says that good things happen to good people. Tamina, on the other hand, thanks Natalya for giving her this opportunity and believing in her. And I'm sure Natalya was a big reason why Tamina is getting the push that she is right now. I mean, when you think about it, Tamina's been here for over a fucking decade. Never won any gold outside of like a 20-minute, 24/7 title reign a few years ago at Hell in a Cell. Other than that, she has never held gold in WWE. And there's a reason for that, because she's not very good. If you're going to put any championship on her, you might as well make it the tag team titles, which really don't mean a hell of a whole lot anyway. But I'm sure Natalya, upon going to SmackDown, had said, listen, can we do something here? And Natalya's been in a number of tag teams over the years. She's teamed with Beth Phoenix. She teamed with Ronda Rousey for a while. She was teaming with Lana over on Raw. Now she's teaming with Tamina now. So I'm sure she was a big part of the reason why Natalya's a big part of the reason why Tamina's even on TV right now. If it wasn't for Natalya going to bat for her and whatever. So Tamina thanks her. She thanks her family for allowing them to share their mother. She has kids, which I didn't know. Allowing them to share their mother with the world. She thanks her dad for introducing her to the world of WWE, where people can make their dreams come true and live out their dreams and be happy, blah, blah, blah. She also thanks the WWE Universe and all the people behind the scenes for sharing that moment with her and Natalya on SmackDown. And Natalya calls the titles a passport to any corner of the company. They can go to Raw, they can go to NXT, they can go anywhere they want. They put every team on notice, whether it's Naomi and Lana. They put Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke on notice. They talk about the Riot Squad, who we haven't really seen on SmackDown in action together in many months. But they talk about the Riot Squad. They put everyone on notice. And that was really about it. And honestly, I don't really give a shit about Natalya or Tamina. And the match was fine on Friday. I just don't care about them being as champions. I don't really care about them being champions at all. But I will say, they made it out to be a nice moment. They cut very good promos here. They were very emotional. Natalya was crying within 10 seconds of Tamina talking. Tamina got emotional. This is the most human I have ever seen either woman on the show, specifically Tamina. Natalya, just a lot of what she says, I don't know if it's her cadence or her voice or whatever, it just doesn't sound authentic. It never sounds genuine. Although I'm sure she's like probably one of the nicest women in the entire company. I'm just not a fan of like her promos, her promos and whatever. That's really just a me thing more than anything. But anyway, they showed a lot of emotion here. It clearly meant a lot to them, which is great. Which made me wonder, when the fuck was the babyface turn for Natalya and Tamina? I mean, clearly they're babyfaces if they're thanking everyone in the company and the fans. Like, I thought they've been heels this entire time. I was lost somewhere in there. Whenever that babyface occurred, I probably missed it. But anyway, moving on. The next person they had on was Pat McAfee. Again, who I thought was a very refreshing change of pace on the show. And not to say the other guests aren't good, but we kind of see the same faces here on the show. We see Bianca a lot. We see Apollo Crews a lot. We see Cesaro a handful of times, among other people. We've never had Pat McAfee here on the show, and he's only been on SmackDown for about a month now. But it was cool to see him here on Talking Smack to help Kayla break down the Backlash card for this weekend. He says that he's having a blast right now on SmackDown. He admits that he's made mistakes so far. So, that was refreshing too, because you don't really see these people show vulnerability and admit that they're not doing a good job when they're not doing a good job. And Pat McAfee overall has been very good, but he seems to be very hard on himself. And for him to say that publicly is very admirable. So I respect that. He does think Bianca is going to beat Bayley on Sunday to retain the SmackDown Women's Championship. And then he and Heyman go at it. They talk about Roman Reigns, and Pat McAfee talks about Heyman being on a show and how he was first introduced to Roman when they were playing on opposite sides of the football field when he was a part of whatever team. I don't remember. Not the Colts, another team. When Roman was playing for Georgia Tech. And they actually faced each other in a game, and Pat McAfee's team won. And he considers himself a Roman Reigns fan, and Heyman says, listen, then just look into the camera, and all you have to say is, Roman Reigns will defeat Cesaro this Sunday at WrestleMania Backlash, and he is my tribal chief. But he refuses to say it, which was great. And they kind of go back and forth, and then randomly it just kind of goes into commercial. And I'm thinking, okay, we'll get the continuation of it when we get back. But I think because it said the segment went so far off the rails, they were just like, fuck it, let's just go to commercial. So that was weird. But we come back with Big E. He has a mallet with him. Why, I don't know. He might have explained it and I missed it. I'm not sure. We are getting a Fatal 4-Way next week on SmackDown. Not the pay-per-view on Sunday for whatever reason. But we're getting it next week on SmackDown. Fatal 4-Way for the Intercontinental Championship. Big E, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, and the current champion Apollo Crews for that title. Big E says he doesn't like the word fatal. No one's going to die. People might get hurt, but no one's life is on the line here, he says. We need a better word than fatal, which I thought was great. He says that he wants to get back on track following his loss of the championship at WrestleMania, where he lost it, unfortunately, in his hometown to Apollo Crews. But when he gets the belt back, not if, but when he gets that belt back next week on SmackDown, he says, his plan has not changed. And he got really intense talking about this, but he wants Roman Reigns at WrestleMania 38, which is what he said months ago. He said this like fucking Christmas of last year when he first won the championship. But he's been saying this forever. He wants Roman Reigns at WrestleMania 38, and he aims to walk out of there. Not only is still the Intercontinental Champion, but a double champion as the Universal Champion as well. Hearing him say that with the intensity that he spoke and the passion that he spoke with in this promo, now I want to see it. It's probably not going to happen. But then I got my mind thinking about maybe he will get the belt back. Maybe either next Friday or another day from Apollo. Maybe Apollo's reign is not going to last that long. And Big E will get the belt back soon. And then he can feud with, we've already seen him and Sammy, but him and Aleister Black is an option. Maybe en route to facing Roman for that championship, he ends up dropping it to a Jey Uso or something, who's done great work as a single star. And I think Jey's probably bound for the tag team title scene with Jimmy soon, but just an idea. So they go to commercial, and I was thinking, they have a couple of minutes left. I'm wondering what they're going to do when we get back. And Paul Heyman always does the end of the show spiel where he talks about Roman Reigns or whatever. We didn't get that this week. It was just Paul Heyman, no Kayla, no back and forth. It was just Heyman. He was clearly emotional when they came back, and I'm thinking, what's going on here? And he was talking about New Jack. Jerome Young had passed away on Friday at the age of 58 due to a heart attack. And I had read the news a couple of hours before SmackDown started. I think it was right before the show started, around 7 o'clock maybe. It was pretty late when the news broke. I know he never wrestled for WWE, but technically, he is WWE canon. He was an ECW. He's an ECW original. He is all over Peacock. I'm not sure if he is now, but or he was all over the WWE Network and whatever. So they've acknowledged him before on like the website and things like that and in videos. So it's not like he's not, he's never existed in the WWE canon or whatever. But because the news broke so late, I would assume that was why there was no mention of it on the show, and they probably taped the show earlier on in the day. I doubt a lot of these shows are live. Like, why would they need to be? They're in a fucking Thunderdome. Who cares? You know what I mean? For the pay-per-views, I get it. For the Raws and the SmackDowns, I don't really think it matters much. But yeah, I mean, maybe that's why they didn't put up a graphic for New Jack at the beginning of the show, I would imagine, because they had Heyman talk about it here, which I thought was great. I was not expecting that. Heyman made no mention of it and made no reference to New Jack on SmackDown from what I could recall. So I was really happy to see him discuss it here for a few minutes at the end of Talking Smack, which was great. He says that he hates talking about this sort of stuff. He hates giving eulogies because there's no positive spin he can put on it. It just sucks. And when he heard the news, he hoped that he faked his death. He hoped that, knowing who New Jack was, that he had just told his wife to fake his death so they could put out t-shirts about it and he could laugh about it saying, listen, I'm not dead. I'm fine, whatever. Unfortunately, upon finding out he did actually pass away, again, he says it just sucks. He knows WWE can't show a lot of footage of him because when they have this sort of situation, they show footage of the performer. You can't show a lot of New Jack footage on WWE TV because, as Heyman calls him, he was the most non-PG sports entertainer, as Heyman says, or professional wrestler in history. Because he was a gangsta, Heyman says. And he says that Jerome Young was quite an individual, and then he wishes everyone a very extreme weekend before doing the New Jack hand gesture. That was really, really cool. Again, I was not expecting that. I probably should have, considering it's, Heyman all over the show. But maybe they did do SmackDown Live, and I assume they taped this right after SmackDown, and it aired this morning. So I thought that was great, and I thought that was a really touching tribute from someone who knew him very well. New Jack was obviously a very polarizing figure, did a lot of bad shit, so I'm sure there's a lot of people out there who aren't crying over his passing. But it is a notable loss considering, his relevancy to the ECW product, and people still talking about him today. The Dark Side of the Ring episode on him that came out last year. So I'm sure a lot of people are affected by this, specifically Heyman. So to see him all torn up about it was sad. But I thought it was cool he was able to pay tribute to him at the end of the show here on Talking Smack, which was again overall a very good show. Natalya and Tamina, for as little as I care about them being tag team champions, they showed a lot of great emotion. It clearly means something to them, so that's cool. I thought the Pat McAfee appearance was a lot of fun while it lasted. Big E was great as well, and that Paul Heyman speech at the very end was very cool too. So check out this episode of Talking Smack when you get a moment. It lasts around 29-30 minutes, so it's available right now on Peacock. And I complained last week and the week before about how late the fucking show goes up, and I'm doing this review a little bit later on in the day now, but it went up initially at like 1 p.m. Eastern time, which was very surprising. Usually it's gone up in recent weeks like at 4 or 5 or something, not even then, like hours later. So I thought it was really cool for them to put the episode up. Technically when we had the network here in the U.S., it was up at 10 a.m., so it's not. I shouldn't really be praising them for putting it up at 1 p.m. Eastern. It really should have been up at 10, but whatever. I guess that's just the WWE Peacock life and whatever. It really should have been up earlier, but I'm glad it was up as early as it was today as opposed to 4 or 5 or 6 p.m. Eastern, which is what it's the time that it's been going up for the last couple of weeks now. But anyway, guys, thanks for checking out these reviews. As always, we'll be back next Saturday with another Talking Smack review. Be sure to like this video, drop a comment, share the video, and subscribe to the channel for more daily content, and hit the bell button to be notified every time a new video goes up. Have a great one, guys. I'm Graham G.S. Matthews. Enjoy WrestleMania Backlash on Sunday, and I'll catch your ass down the road.